Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 67 of Power Bombshells. We are not your typical broads talking about your typical wrestling. And this week, it is me, Sam, and Mel. And we have a special guest this week. We have the wonderful Keela Cash with us to help us talk about this big Double or Nothing preview. So, welcome, Keela.
Hello, Sam. Hello, Mel. And to be here watching Mel in her gorgeous hat live and in person is a blessing because I loved it last Sunday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's cool. I don't have a cowboy hat, Daza. I went with it's floppy hat season because this was my first hat I ever bought for day camp, for being the day camp director. Because it helps the kids when you're wearing a big silly hat. You can kind of move them along. So I have lots of big floppy hats. This is floppy hat season. Keep that sun out of your eyes. Do the backyard stuff.
Daza says, hello, Keela Cash.
Hi, Daza. Glad to be back here. It's been a minute.
It has been. Yeah, it was funny because like a couple weeks ago, I was thinking to
Right?
myself, I was like, man, I really miss having Keela on here. I was like, I haven't talked to her in forever. And so I told Mel that, and she was like, she's like, I miss her too. And I was like, we need to have her on. And then we were like, Double or Nothing pre-show is the perfect time to have Keela back on the show.
Perfect timing, and AEW really bonds us because let's not forget where we were a year ago. We were watching MJF's flight itinerary in Las Vegas.
Right.
An investigation on the air. Where is he? Did he leave the state of Nevada?
We sure did.
So true.
Yeah, that was MJF watch.
Oh my gosh.
And then we were like, how dare he do this to Wardlow?
The disrespect.
You're going to ruin Wardlow's big match. I was like, how dare you?
And now his big match this year is with a ladder and Christian Cage. So.
Oh, Wardlow, yeah. Poor old Wardlow. He can't. Well, I was gonna say he can't escape Christian Cage, but that's Jungle Boy. You can't. He's briefly escaping him. Christian's his professor, him and his college professor outfit. He looks so funny next to Luchasaurus, who's like in his like goth dinosaur gear. He looks like he excavated him.
Oh my God. He's like the world's most demented archaeologist. He really is.
Right? That's exactly what it is. Wardlow, come on. You got to beat that. You got Arn Anderson now. Like, there's no excuses.
I think everyone heard how Detroit feels about Christian Cage a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. So, I'm Team Wardlow on this one. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about. We won't give away the whole show right now.
No, yeah,
it's 9 minutes. Oh, and you know what? I'm so mad that I forgot. I'm gonna make sure I do it for the show. I was gonna light my Hangman candle for the pre-show, and I literally just remembered that. So I was like, well, at least I'll have it for the show tonight since Hangman has returned. And he brought us Anarchy in the Arena. So I'll have to have my candle lit for him. But I meant to have that ready for the candle section of our podcast. But I forgot about that. Literally just now. Oh, you can tell we're super prepared. As usual.
It's a big day. There's a lot going on. We had the Best of Super Juniors final, which, we'll talk about. We're going to talk about Best of Super Juniors next week because we have another fun guest who's going to come on and show us his project that he did, his art project he did around Best of Super Juniors. Yeah. So we figured that next week will be the Best of Super Juniors wrap-up show, and this week will be, holy crap, it's almost, Keela made me think of it. It's like the Brawl Out anniversary is coming up. That is like,
just a couple months away.
Get your muffins ready now.
Place your orders to Mindy now. She's gonna be busy.
Hey, who was it that just suggested it with it? I think it was the guys on the Boom or the guys on Jade. It was JD and Mike. Somebody suggested doing a podcast for Mindy's. And is that you, Keela?
I did not suggest such a thing, but now that it's been spoken into existence, let's do it.
Well,
Let's
please.
get
I mean, well, we've already talked about how he wanted to review MJF's pickles and they were really expensive. And then we talked about like reviewing other stuff. So why not? Let's just go place a giant order at Mindy's Bakery and then we'll all just taste test them live
I would
and
love
give her
that.
some money and write her a bunch of positive reviews on Yelp.
Which incidentally wrestling fans went and did, which I thought was fun.
Right. we can help her out again.
give her a little boost again. I found that was one of my like favorite little funny offshoot stories that came from that whole situation was that wrestling fans literally were jumping on their website and just giving them 5-star reviews and talking about how they had the best muffins ever. And I was just like, all right, that's joy. That's spreading positivity.
It is. Well, we've got plenty of time. It's the end of May. We've got a few months to get this together. We can make this happen. Maybe it'll just be us and Keela, and we'll just we'll have Keela back on, and we'll just enjoy our Mondays together.
It's gonna be a wild month. I mean,
it will be. Yeah,
we've got like it's this weekend. We've got Double or Nothing. Next weekend we have Dominion. Weekend after that, I think something else is coming up, and then
Forbidden Door.
Well, I think it's a week off, and then Forbidden Door.
Right,
is what it is. We
get
1 week. Ooh, a whole week.
A whole week break.
And I'm going to Forbidden Door, but I'm debating now because they added that Collision show on Saturday. I think what we're going to do is wait and walk up. So
that's that's a good idea. I bet you could do that.
That way I can see it on TV a couple of times and see what it's all about.
Right. And then, that's a good idea. That's very cool.
I still want to support AEW no matter how I feel about all the other crap that's my own personal drama about it.
I feel you. So speaking of Dominion, I saw this is the one thing I have seen for sure. I was telling Mel and Keela before we came on that I think I saw who won BOSJ, but I'm just gonna not say that or say what it is just in case because I do still want to watch it. But I did see the one big thing that is happening with Dominion so we've been wondering who. So it's Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii are defending the never open 6-man titles. Lord, if I can get it out. So we knew they were wrestling Shooter and Moxley, and that Moxley was coming back, and they were going to have a mystery opponent. And then we found out today that it is Shooter. I mean, it is Claudio Castagnoli. So it'll be Moxley, Claudio, and Shooter.
You didn't let me put up the spoiler.
Sorry.
Brad and I are disappointed now.
I'm sorry. Put up the graphic late. It's okay.
It's too late. No, it's too late.
Sorry,
I'm not going back. You can't go back. You got to go forward. Sorry.
Usually, I'm the one who's like, put up the graphic. Not today. Sorry, I just spoiled it all for you.
Too excited.
I was too excited. I even said Shooter twice instead of Claudio, even though it was whatever. But I'm excited. So this will be Claudio's first time in New Japan, which I think is insane, but also I'm really excited.
Oh, wow.
So I hope that this will lead to more Claudio. I mean, he was involved in Forbidden Door, obviously, but I would like to see him do stuff in Japan. I think that would be really cool to see him there.
That is weird, right? Because he debuted on the Door last year. His music hit and we went mental.
Sure did.
I like it. I like what's going on here. I like the way that they are actually playing in together more than people realize.
Yeah, same.
So we'll get to Best of Super Juniors and Dominion next week.
Yeah, because we have that really cool project, and I think you guys will be into it. So
definitely,
we will make sure we get into that. And then real quick, so Friday I got to see some live wrestling with Title Belt Pro. They were having their show that was benefiting referee Kevin Pierce that I mentioned on last week's show. And so I wasn't sure if Pierce would be there just because I don't know, because of he's having some health issues. And so he was there. And so was his fiance Josie. And so it was really great to see them. I think they enjoyed a really great show. It was a lot of people came out from, some of them are former PWX wrestlers, which is where Kevin was a referee for a really long time. They had some of the Deadlock Pro guys over there because Kevin also was refereeing for them some before he was diagnosed with cancer. And so it was really cool to see kind of both people from both companies kind of come together for Kevin. So that was a really cool thing. And I think he really enjoyed it. And so it was great to see everybody. We got to see, they did, they did do an all women's main event, which I was excited for. However, Lindsay Snow has made her return. If you haven't seen Lindsay Snow before, she's amazing. She's awesome. And so she won the match in like 30 seconds. So it was like a dark match. But then she called out Josh Powers, who was Mad Dog, for a Mad Dog Mayhem match. So then we got like an impromptu hardcore match, intergender hardcore match at that. So it was awesome. It's a lot of fun. And so I think, everybody had a good time. And then we had heard at the that Ethan Case who was the new GM, was going to be making a special announcement. So he's like, okay, our next show is July 7th. One of my students, Sean Legacy, he's been over, and Noah, he won the Noah had, I don't remember exactly what they were doing. It was some kind of a competition, and he won, and he got to go wrestle. He's been in Japan for like the last, I think 6 weeks or something like that. From what I know that Justin Nipper has been like posting about him as well. And so he's got to see Sean, and Sean's great. He's a really big baby face, and he's like, I think he's like almost Tana. I mean, he's like, here he would be like Tana levels of baby face. He's just a really good one. But then they were like, so Sean Legacy's going to be back and he'll be in the main event. And then he was like, against Speedball Mike Bailey. And me and Nikki lost our minds. We were just like, and our friend Doug was across, like, it was down from us because Nikki's been having some back issues. So we were sitting in this really comfy area. So we were separated from Doug. And so Nikki and I were losing it. Doug was losing it. And then I hear somebody behind us. I don't know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh, you're going to learn. You're going to learn when you see Speedball Mike Bailey. And Nikki and I are losing it. And Doug's friend was with him. And she was like, she's like, I think he like levitated out of his wheelchair when they said that Speedball was coming. I was like, yeah. And it was funny because Doug had always told us, he was like, man, when is Speedball Bailey? This was obviously when he was banned from the US. He's like, man, I wonder when he's coming back. I wonder when he's coming back. And so Nikki and I were like, why is he always talking about the Speedball guy? Like, we've never seen him before. Then I started watching him last year and I was like, okay, I get it now. Now I know why Doug talks about Speedball all the time. And now I am obsessed with him as well. And he's like one of my current favorite wrestlers. And Nikki is really excited. So I was like, I don't care. I was like, I don't know if anybody else in that room was really excited. I mean, they probably were, but I don't think they were as excited as the three of us. I think we were just like, oh my God. And so we were, so I was talking to one of the co-owners, and he was like, yeah, Mike and Sean are like both in Japan, apparently talking about wanting to have a match. And we were like, we can make it happen. And so we are. And so I get to see Mike Bailey in a brewery. Like,
oh man, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, it was like an 80 person venue.
Right after he just like, I mean, oh man.
Yeah, I am so
that's awesome.
Freaking excited. I haven't been that excited about a wrestling announcement in a really long time. And I was like, oh my God. And so he was like, tickets will be on sale. He's like, I think we're going to put them up early because we've announced it. And I was like,
tickets will be on sale right now so I can buy them.
Right. I was like, go ahead and just put me down for 2. It's like, then we had, so one of our friends, he was getting married yesterday. So he was Friday, the rehearsal dinner was during the show. So we were texting. He asked earlier, he's like, has Ethan made his big announcement yet? I was like, no. And so when Ethan came out, I was texting him and I was like, okay. I was like, this is the next show. Sean Legacy is back. And then he said Speedball. And I think I stopped typing and was just like screaming. That I was like, I turned into a total mark and I don't even care. And then I texted him and he was like, oh my God. He was like, we're going to be there. So I was like, well, you already have like 6 tickets sold whenever these go on sale. I was like, we'll be there.
Goes to a great cause. So
it does. Even better. Yeah. Cause it's a charity or a community focused event. They pick a charity or a a nonprofit every show, or in this case, obviously it went to Kevin Pierce's medical fund. And so they always pick something like that that the funds go to. So we get to do good for the community and get to see amazing wrestling at the same time, which I can't really think of a better thing. So I'm very clearly, as you can tell, extremely excited about this.
As you should be.
Yes. Nikki said she did see Pierce one time move kind of like a ref once when an actual ref went for the count. He had like a head gesture. It was adorable. Oh, poor Pierce. He's the best. I'm so glad he got to come out and see that everybody was there to support him. So that was a cool thing for sure.
Right on.
Yes. Right, so I just wanted to get that in real quick. I wanted to talk.
No, definitely. I was glad I'm glad you followed up because we did chat about it last week, and obviously we've had them on before. So.
Yes,
love it.
Okay, oof. I guess now we can get to the big thing that everybody is tuning in for.
The real reason that people came to see us and our awesome guest that we didn't tell everyone about. Surprise!
It was funny because I was trying to find a picture to use of like 3 people, and I was like, well, I don't want to use the Outcast because we're not heels. And then I was like, well, that is true. So then I was almost used this really great picture of Willow, but then I didn't want people to think that Willow was our guest. And then be like, get a bunch of hate for misleading them. So I was like, maybe one day we'll have Willow as a guest. But
nah, I like it. I think our slate was perfect. It was fine. It was simple. I think we agreed that simple was fine because we're gonna mess around with the graphics again this week, you guys. So hang on, buckle the F up. All right, it's graphic time.
And since we don't have a match card in order, we might just flash up random graphics. So
I have a match card.
Yeah, on your toes. Keep Keela on her toes too.
I have a match card. I have one.
I have a match card as well.
All right. Well, let's see if your match card. We'll go with your match card and see if it works.
Okay. So I know for sure I don't think we have a graphic for the buy-in match. I don't remember if they sent one, and obviously it was late. I did finally get to watch
for this one.
I finally got to watch. Yes. Okay. We do have one. Yay. Look at us look at Mel being on top
Actually,
of this.
you know what's great is, and this is a shout out to Kevin Ely from the Boom, shared some images as well.
I did see.
And I jumped in there real quick to see if I could find a few more.
Yeah, because I saw all this was happening. I was driving to a wedding and I saw that I was tagged in something. I was like, well, I was like, sorry about that. But I saw that Kevin got the stuff that he needed, so that was good. But yes, I finally got to watch Rampage last night. And when I was on the media call on Thursday, Tony kept hinting that the Hardy Boys were gonna have a buy-in match because he kept saying, oh, they shot something for Rampage. I think you'll see them on the buy-in. So I was like, you might as well just announce the match right now. You practically have. But so we have this apparently appears to be the only buy-in match, and I think on Revolution, did they only do like a match or two instead of the normal 4? I feel like 0 Hour only had like 1 or 2 matches last time, and then they did they had Renee and RJ out there kind of like previewing the pay-per-view, I think is what I feel like happened. So maybe this will be the only buy-in that we have. Unless he finds a way to get the Trustbusters on TV, because that's his like passion project. And he finds ways to put them. He finds ways to use them all the time. But if that gets Sunny on my TV, then I'm all for that. But yeah, so our buy-in match that we have here is Ethan Page and the Guns versus the Hardys and Hook. And the reason that Hook is here is because last week we saw Ethan and the Guns attack Isaiah with a chair. He can't moan anymore, is what Ethan Page said. he hurt his. I believe he said he hurt his moan box, I believe was the phrase that he used. And so we see.
That's awesome.
So we see Isaiah come out last night. Or on Rampage. He's got a neck brace on. He can't talk, and So they're like, oh, we, of course we have somebody with us, and it was Hook who was with them. He helped them delete the firm, and so he is here to help them tonight against Ethan and the Guns. And I don't remember if this is. I think this is the match, right? Is this the one that um if the Hardys and Hook win, then Matt Hardy owns Ethan's contract. I believe this is the
Yes.
stipulation for this. Yep. So, and I remember when he was like making it, Jeff is like, "You've got to cool it with these, with these I own your contract stipulations." And Matt was like, "After this, okay, just like let this happen because I have to pay him back." So, Keela, what do you think about this match being on the buy-in?
Well, first of all, I'm looking at the graphic, and I have to say, like, this is the most normal Hook's hair has ever looked in a graphic.
That is a
oh my God, you're totally right. He looked like he just get out of the shower or something. Not like
he didn't roll out of bed to come take this picture. Like it does look. He looks like he might have hit a little bit of like humidity. His hair's a little flat in the front. It's not like as insane as normal.
Oh my God, all of the teenagers and like the teens are gonna be like, I don't know if I'm gonna bother my parents to buy this pay-per-view. And he looks so normal.
Don't let the picture fool you. He'll be out there with his wild hair, but
oh yeah.
But Matt has a real thing for contracts, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, for the last couple of years, puts 20% here, 25% there. Obviously, the Hardys are going to win this match to own Ethan Page's contract, and then he'll add 50% to it because that's what Matt Hardy does.
Yeah, big money Matt's going to come through.
I mean,
do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, I mean, this one is like, this will be a good starter. I think this is a perfect position for this. It's been hard for me to follow the contract. Again, there's a lot of contract law in AEW.
There is.
Kayfabe contract law. So
Daza hates
I might take up contract kayfabe law. Right. Smart Mark Sterling. We can run some of those ads on Sports Talk Radio.
Oh, I'm sure Ethan's going to have Smart Mark on speed dial after he loses this and is going to try to find a way out of this contract.
Well, he is the best lawyer in pro wrestling that we know of at the time, current. So.
Yeah, so Brad says that he's happy that this story is on the buy-in instead of the main show. I think this is a good place for it. This is a story I have followed since it was on Dark and Elevation. And so I thought, obviously, when the firm was deleted, like I thought this was going to be the end of it. I am not surprised that they're keeping it going a little bit longer. And I think part of it is just because Matt Hardy and Ethan Page are really good together and they play off of each other so well. I think that they were like, we have to figure out a way to keep this going a little bit longer. And then, of course, it keeps the Guns kind of out of the way a little bit from, they're still wanting their rematch with FTR for the tag team titles. Jeff Hardy has said, that was kind of the next thing. Like they are interested in having like their final tag team run. So that could lead to the Hardys and the Guns down the line a little bit. So I think there's some, they're not quite done with this, but I think the buy-in is a good place. And people still love the Hardy Boys. The Hardys are still super over. I mean, maybe it does sell a couple pay-per-views to see, maybe the Hardys, that's a good place. I think in this situation, you kind of, and one thing you're like, wow, you're going to put the Hardys on the buy-in, but the way Tony looks at it is like, it's just one big card is kind of how he's always talked about it. He's like the buy-in, like he was like, we've been trained from other companies to think that the pre-show doesn't matter, but it does matter. Like there are things that are happening. And he was like, so I think to him, like, he's not saying like, oh, the Hardy Boys can't even make it on the main card. I think this is a story that's been going on. Let's just add it to the beginning of the show and it'll just be one thing from kind of start to finish. It seems like, I think is where he's going with that here. Daza asked, does the Powerbombshells have a contract with Fight Game Media?
I will contact my kayfabe attorney and
does Mark Sterling represent podcasters as well? Keela, do you have a contract with Fight Game Media?
I have to call Mark to let him know, like, okay, so what's the exact percentage in terms of advertising rate and other stuff like that? And then he'll lie to
Smart.
me. And then I get like another attorney that doesn't know what he's talking about. So honestly speaking, we have no clue. I'm calling Matt Hardy. He's the only
Let's do
guy that
that.
can fix that for us.
You know what, Keela? I'm with you on that. Let's see if Matt Hardy will represent the three of us for a wee fee.
And he better not charge my ass 25% because I
know that's
it.
Right.
Don't play with me.
That's what they do. I mean, that's the standard, man. It sucks. But I don't know. I guess to get the best, you got to pay for it. So
that is true. And apparently Matt Hardy is the best at, some sort of contract. So
I think this will work just because like people like Jeff and Hook and Matt. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good for outsiders looking in, maybe looking for something to do on the holiday weekend, not sure where to hang out tonight because they actually. I mean, it's nice that tomorrow's a holiday because you're more inclined to maybe, do something. Ooh, my floppy hat's getting sloppy.
Daza said he's on the phone with Gigi in Vegas to secure our contracts to him. Oh wow, this is just an interesting development now.
Dang. Remember, we're all in the bag for Tony Khan adjacent to begin with, just because we're on a network that Garrett is the boss of.
Right, so. Exactly, of course.
We just need to make sure we're getting our correct in the bag.
Daza, make sure he
anyway. So actually, I guess that gives us like a straight line to Mark Sterling, right? He should represent us because we're Tony Khan adjacent.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
Okay, well, there we go. So we're fine. So we would get smart Mark Sterling, I guess, or Matt Hardy, as Keela suggested, which I think is smarter because
I think that's a little that's smarter.
He's more lawyer-like. He's more lawyer-like. His swerves are much more in the vein of how I imagine an attorney functions in the shoot world.
It seems like Matt Hardy's dealt with a few interesting lawyers in his past. And so he knows how they work. All right, so we will move on. I don't, again, these are in no particular order. This is just going by the list that I have. So a match that is happening is the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal for Orange Cassidy's International Championship.
I will show it to you because I have it because it's right
there. We go. So this is a pretty stacked battle royale.
I went and found this actual. The original graphic was funny because it had like no one in it, and then and I saw this and I was like, holy.
Perfect. Yeah, because
lots of things.
It was interesting because like I was looking at like who all was in it, and I was like, why are the Lucha Brothers in this? They have ROH tag team titles. I love them. Nikki was like, because they need a payday, which of course I am all for paydays and wrestlers getting paid. However, they have titles. I don't know what they're doing here. I mean, and of course, I'm never going to complain about seeing the Lucha Brothers. I love those guys. They're one of my favorite tag teams. I'm always interested to see them. But if I were booking this, I would have put the Workhorsemen in their place. Just for me.
Yeah, I don't want to see Swerve and Keith Lee in this. I want to see the real Swerve and Keith Lee. I know that they have a long summer ahead of them, so they'll probably save it for that. But
it seems like this match is a lot of storylines within a match type of thing because we've got Jay and Juice and Ricky all in here, and you've got Dustin Rhodes who's been with Keith Lee, and it goes back to the Swerve stuff as well. And then so it does seem like there's storylines happening within this match. So Keela, what do you think about the participants of this battle royale?
It's a stacked field. I love Orange Cassidy. I've called him the hardest working champion in show business right now. Yeah. And he's been having a stellar run as international champion. My hopes and dreams came true after 2 long years. He's a champion. Thank God. Finally, I was begging, pleading, praying, like, give this man a belt, and it's worked out beautifully as I thought it would. But I don't want my guy to lose in a battle royal. Like, really, he's been hustling and fighting and getting hurt and selling and winning. I want him to win this match. And I also want Ricky Starks to find a friend. I am tired of you getting beat up in these 2-on-1 situations. Do you have a friend? Can you buy a friend? Find someone to help you, I beg of thee, because I feel sorry for my guy.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Keela, because, yeah, poor old Ricky. He's I was like, why are y'all making him be the dumb baby face with no friends?
Not a one to be found.
No. It's like,
nobody anywhere. There's
like,
no one.
Ricky seems like a nice guy. Why does he have friends who will come help him? Why are y'all going to do him like this? And do you think, so I thought this was an interesting thing when they first announced this match, which they announced a week too early because they should have waited until after the Kyle Fletcher match to announce this battle royale. I mean, they did kind of backtrack it during the match, and they were like, well, if Kyle Fletcher wins, then it'll still be a battle royale for Kyle Fletcher's new title. Should have waited a week for that. But when the match was originally announced, when Orange was talking to Renee, which I love their segments together. Renee does so well feeding off of whatever Orange is gonna say, because you never know with that guy. And she's so great. And he's like, I'm tired, and she's like patting him on the back, like, me too. But Orange,
they almost feel like they're besties in real life.
They do.
There's a vibe between them because they're so good at that. And she's great anyway. Like we've talked about earlier, but I mean, I don't need to like butt in on there, but it's like they almost seem like they're besties in real life. Like they get each other somehow. So
right. Definitely, yes. They're like now I need like a buddy comedy with the two of them. But so Orange said he was like, I am the 21st person because I'm in this match. But these matches always have a joker. So I have a feeling that they're gonna have a joker, even though there are technically 21 people in this match. So if there were to be a joker, Keela, who would you want to see as a joker in this situation?
Oh man, this is tough because I would love a surprise.
We should put it back.
If I had to guess, let me think here.
Let me put the picture back up so you can look at your choices.
Let me look at my options here. Let me look at them here. Lots of options.
Study them.
I would say, give me Vikingo in here. I would love to see him in here.
That would be good. That's a good choice. I like that one. Mel, how about you?
I'm gonna pick Keith Lee just because I want to.
Okay, that works. We'll go with Keith Lee.
He's my heart pick. I mean, but really, it's so tough. I really want Orange to hang on to this belt.
Yeah, I do too.
It's so hard for me to want to pick anybody.
And then do you have it if there were a joker, like a surprise?
Oh, I'm sorry. A joker.
Okay. That works too.
You know who I would love to see as a joker because it would warm my heart, and also this is my like fingers crossed like Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh man, ooh. I would love that if Kyle is ready to go.
If he's ready to go and his neck is better and everything's good. I want to see him. He's kind of my like wild card for this card anyway tonight.
Right. Okay.
This would be a place for him that he wouldn't have to do too many crazy spots or anything. He could totally do a run in. And Kyle is like a great. I mean, we know he's out there, and when he's ready to go, they want him back. And then you got everybody in Undisputed at a really good time. And I don't know. It just that would be maybe here. As I was thinking about it, because I was like, but where would you put him in? And as you were saying it, I was like, wait.
Yeah. So So my pick, and this was actually Nikki's pick as well. If they're gonna have a joker spot, this is where I would bring Scorpio Sky back.
Ooh, I like that too.
That's true.
I would, because clearly we're seeing him in the Collision. So it may just be, it seems kind of like they're leaving everybody. The people who are going to be on Collision will probably I don't know if they'll even be on TV before Collision, because there's Andrade, there's Miro, Thunder Rosa have all kind of been they're in the ads, but now they're putting Scorpio. Sky in the ads. And so if they were going to have somebody come back to TV prior to Collision, then I would put Scorpio Sky in this position.
It'd be a good advertisement for it, though. You're not wrong.
That's true, and I didn't think about that. And so Daza asked, has Drew left WWE yet? Keela, do you have any information, or have you heard anything about their contract situation?
His contract, I think, is out later this year, and it's all about a matter of him having something creatively to do on Monday Night Raw right now. So with Seth Rollins being the new World Heavyweight Champion, that opens the door, but it just depends on his health right now and whatever's going on with creative. But he's still locked in. From what I heard, they're still far apart on money. So we'll see how it goes. In my personal opinion, pay the man.
Yeah.
Dating back to the year 2020 when nobody was freaking there at the PC, pay that man his money.
Right.
One of my matches of the year was him and it was the one that was like the sleeper on the second night of WrestleMania. It was Drew and him. I'm losing my mind.
No, that wasn't Gunther, was it? It was.
I have written. You know what? Let's keep moving.
Before we move on from this match, Nikki did want to say that she was talking about how best friends are just randomly in this match and how like they like never seem to know what to do with them, and I've been noticing. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but every time that best friends are in a match, Chucky T is taking the pin. He has taken the pin 3 matches in a row, including on Rampage this week. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it's. If it's going to build to something else, or if they're just, I don't know. It's not, Trent is not the one taking the pin. It's Chucky T every single time. So I don't, or at least the last three or 4 matches I've noticed that's been the case, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if it means anything, but it's just something Nikki and I have noticed. Let's see. So on this match card that we have, so next what they have listed is the TBS Championship, which is Jade Cargill, who will be going for win number 60. She's getting her Taya is getting her rematch, I should say, tonight for the TBS Championship.
That's that one.
And so this one looks to be a really, really good match. I enjoyed their first one. I'm glad that I was hoping they would work a way to a rematch. They found a way to do it. And so, Keela, what are your thoughts? Do you think Jade gets win number 60 here, or do you think she drops the title and we got a new champion?
Man, I am really torn on this because I've enjoyed Jade's run, 500 days as champion, but I got a feeling that, I think it's going to be an upset tonight. I think that Taya takes it. I think she takes it. I truly do. She's gonna hit her finisher, and that's gonna be the end of it. And I think Jade's had a great run as champion, but it's time to focus on the main women's championship in AEW. That should be the next trajectory. So I don't think she's getting to 60. I could be wrong, but we'll see.
All right, Mel, what do you think?
God, I want it to be Taya. But I don't think you go all the way to 60 and put her go through all of those things and not keep it on her, and give her the 60 and I mean, I hope you're right. And I think that makes the most sense. But also they I don't know. It feels like they might do 60-0, ha ha. I mean, because this one really seems like the one that's most likely to be an upset, and then could really honestly not be at all. And then,
right.
But I don't know. I'm so torn on this one too, because as much as I don't want to see it end either, she's built the belt, it's ready to go. It's time to run with it now.
Right.
And maybe preventing that is good, but I'm not sure. I mean, I'm really, really still. I think that Jade could. I think that the possibility of her walking away is there. And I mean, I guess if they were forcing me to do one of those DraftKings or something, I'd probably put my money on Jade.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with because on the one hand, do you get Jade to 59 and have her lose at 59 wins? And I was like, I feel like you got to go with the big round number on the one hand, but then if she wins here, then like how long, like where does she lose the title and like who takes it? And I think I could see Jade winning. However, just to get the 60-0. But they got her to her 500-day mark, which I think was kind of their goal once they got past the year mark. I think the 500 days was kind of their goal. And I think it makes the most sense to put the title on Taya now because they're about to go to Canada. They're doing the big run up there. That's Taya's home country.
Right.
You go into Canada with a Canadian as your champion. I still think she could potentially do the Owen Hart, which we do get the Owen Hart opening ceremonies tonight. Before the heading into. So I'm assuming when they do the opening ceremonies, maybe we get the participants tonight, or some of the participants, or maybe it's just the layout of the brackets. I'm not quite sure. And so Nikki and I were talking about that maybe this is how they can bring some people back. Like if Chris Statlander's ready to go, maybe they reveal Statlander's going to be in that she's going to be in the Owen Hart Cup on the women's side of things. So I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do. I just don't know. Unfortunately for Jade, is kind of she's suffering from kind of the Bianca thing that was happening in WWE. People are getting tired of it. I've seen people. I personally think Jade has done a really great job, considering like how they threw her into this. She's the first champion for like Keela was talking about. She has set the standard for this belt. And it is time, I think, to put that belt on somebody else. So if she is to win tonight, they can't keep that belt on her much longer because it's starting, for a lot of fans, it's gotten really old. They're done with it. Some people, they've said some really not nice things about her run and how it's like the most meaningless 500-day run ever, and how just nasty things that they are saying about her, which is not a surprise. But I think that if she retains, that they're going to have her drop it fast, because I think some fans are just over her, which I hate that for her. And so I don't want her to lose what she's built up in these 500 days. Like I want her to still, because Jade is, we've talked about, Jade is a star. She is like, that's a woman you got to have on TV. You got to be doing stuff with her. And, maybe she does turn her sights towards the main women's title after this. I still would like to see her go to Japan like she wants to, and just like learn as much as she can, and then come back and then just like run through the women or something like that. So
unless she's going to Collision, I guess. And then
that's
you
true.
Would have her. You almost talked me out of it. It actually does make sense because of Taya being the Canadian tour starting the whole thing. Because
I just think the timing is right for that.
It's so close to me that I forget how like I'm like, no, it's in Canada.
Right. So Brad says they never do rematches like this. I was hoping for Statlander to take the title, but this could be Taya's time to take it. Just let Jade go off to Japan after she loses for 2 to 3 months. Yeah, I really would love to see her, because she wants to go to Japan to learn. I think this would be the perfect time. And then I get the point of you kind of want to keep Jade on TV because she is a star, but let her go and just get even better. And
but if she went on an excursion here in AEW with the fans the way that we are, I mean, for the most part, I think it would be, she'd get a ginormous pop when she came back. Ginormous.
Sure. Yeah, I think so
and
too.
She would know so much more. Plus, that leaves it open for Statlander to have a feud with Taya, so you have something to do with them.
Yeah, and also I actually saw this last night. Nyla Rose is going back to Japan. She is going to TJPW. She is wrestling. I believe it's Yuka Sakazaki. She's wrestling at the summer. Awesome. What is it? The Princess Tournament. I believe.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, and so Nyla, when I interviewed her a few years ago, was really she loved her time in Japan. She wrestled for Sendai over there, and I remember when I was talking to her, she was hoping that she could get some of those girls to come over here and wrestle. So she loved her time in Japan and just spoke really highly of it. So she's excited to go back to Japan, and so
that's awesome.
Maybe she'll take Jade with her.
TJPW is a really good spot too. That'd be because. That's a really good place to build. Stardom is a little like more leveled up. It's more like All Japan or New Japan, whereas TJPW has that DDT 5 where you can like, or what we talk about with Impact, where you can discover more about your, like, you can explore what you are a little bit more, because it's a little more unconventional. Some of the
TJPW would be really good for
rabbit throwing and all kinds of fun stuff that goes on in TJPW. She might enjoy that. She might really enjoy it. I would watch that. I'd watch.
Yeah. Grace said that he thinks that Jade's gonna drop the title. Daza said, I just think they should really save it for something big or really make someone like Willow. I think Willow is gonna be. That was one of the questions there. And it was funny. I had 3 questions for Tony the other day, and I was trying to figure out which one to ask. And I'm glad I went with the one that I did, because my other 2 questions were asked by the 2 people after me. So it worked out really well. I got everything answered. So Tony did say he picked Willow to be in the tournament. He picked her. He was like, I thought she could be their best representative for AEW/ROH. Obviously Mercedes is a really big opponent for her. And so he was like, I think that would probably be the best, she would be the best representative. He did make it seem like she will be defending the title on AEW. And he said maybe ROH, which kind of surprised me, because Willow's been doing a lot in ROH lately. And we've seen some of the New Japan champions in ROH. So it sounds like he's going to kind of, because obviously this was unexpected for Willow to win. Obviously nobody was expecting Mercedes to get injured when she did. So it sounds like they're kind of going to try to do something with that, which I'm glad about, because I was a little concerned that he was like not going to do anything with her in that title. And he did say that only he and Mercedes know what the plans were for her. And he was like, so that to me sounds like Forbidden Door, or maybe it's All In. But he was like, that kind of changes things. So it sounds like they had something
more logical, though, since she's been doing all New Japan stuff.
Right.
So doesn't mean she can't show up at All In, because that'd be great. But because that could be your next appearance. Then you leave people wanting, because that's a pretty significant. That's about a not quite 8 week, I think.
Yeah. So Nikki suggested maybe Jade wins number 60, and then Statlander returns to immediately challenge it, and she wins. So kind of a WWE thing to do. They did have Jade win 58 and 59 in one night. She won them in I think each match was 42 seconds apiece, or 36 seconds or something like that. So less than a minute. And then they were going to have her, she was going to win 60 right then and there, until Taya came in and took out her opponent on the way down to the ring. You can tell we've all been watching wrestling for a very long time when we come up with things like this. But that would be interesting. I wonder how the fans would react to Jade winning and then Statlander coming back and then just immediately pinning her. It's like she's cashing in a Money in the Bank.
Could you imagine if that actually happened? And I would stand up and give a standing ovation, because I love Chris. Do it at this point for Jade, for her to go to Japan, end it, because it's time. I'll take it. I'll take the WWE booking finish. Do it, Tony. Do it for the people.
Do it. Please do it for
the people. I mean,
Nikki does make a point that would suck for Ty.
That would. That would. We would cry for her. Oops. But then, oh well.
She's got a lot.
She's to make it up to her. Then maybe they put her in the Owen and she wins the Owen, which is not the same as the belt, but it might be a big deal to her. So.
Or that she could be with a feud still. I mean, she's still there to feud with. It's not like she's going anywhere.
Daza makes a very interesting point, this could be something too. He said he personally thinks that Jade's first loss should be in the final at the Owen Hart tournament. Oh, that's quite interesting.
My goodness.
Because that would be interesting if they did her first loss there, because it wouldn't be a title.
Exactly.
Because she's not going to defend her title while that's happening. So she would get her first loss, but still be the champion. So that's very interesting. And then maybe that sets up the match for the title.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Daza, that's very interesting.
Daza, nicely done.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do. So we have some intriguing things. So if Jade wins, I could kind of see that. Oh, that's very interesting. I like it.
Man.
Okay. Well, they went ahead on this card and put both women's matches together. So,
I noticed that.
So the next match is the AEW Women's World Championship match with Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm, which is really interesting because Jamie has been working injured. They've talked about that. Why will this not? Hold on a second. I can't get this comment.
Click the thing here.
Yeah, I gotta scroll back up. As much as we love that comment, gotta take it down. So Jamie, they've been working it. Jamie is legitimately injured, which Toni confirmed during the media call. So there isn't a legit injury. They have kind of sold it on TV that she was attacked a few weeks ago. Then they sold it again on Rampage when she was attacked while Sheeta and Britt were wrestling Marina and Nyla. They cut to the back and the Outcasts have beat her up again. So it seems like, I guess this match is still on. I don't know if Jamie's clearly not 100%. So this will be kind of an interesting situation. And then I believe, was it Kevin Ely said yesterday that they think it was a torn rotator cuff that she's rumored to be dealing with. I don't remember.
Or meniscus.
Something
in her shoulder, I guess that one. And because I know that JD and Mike, when they were talking about it on their show Drop Friday, the JD and Mike show, and JD, who's been a wrestling coach for a long time now, talked about shoulder injuries, specifically talking about the fact that if they were going to do this versus this and all these things, and it was like, dude, these are, it sucks. I would want to get her healthy, though. I mean, it makes sense. Like, we need to get her out of there, get her healthy, or she might be it might be rotator cuff. I might be mixing up the shoulder injury with Mark Davis's, because there's a couple of serious shoulder injuries going. But
right,
didn't he say that there was going to be like a drastic change in the women's division?
Okay, so from what I saw was Sean Ross Sapp, because I saw it from something. So Sean Ross Sapp says big things are basically afoot in the AEW women's division. So while it was, somebody wrote an opinion piece for SC Scoops about it, which is actually how I even saw the comment from Sean Ross Sapp, and I don't remember who wrote it off the top of my head, but while I'm thinking about it, I agreed with the sentiment. Toni Storm would be a great champion, but it would not be something that would shake up the entire women's division. Jade winning or Jade losing would be a big deal after 500 days and 59 wins. Still not going to shake up the women's division, really. I mean, Taya, that's nothing to take away from Taya, because she will be incredible, but something big has to be happening, and I have an idea of what that might be. But I want to get Keela, what are your thoughts? Do you think does this match first take place? And B, if it does, is this like a 30-second squash?
Oh, man.
Here? Or does Jamie just vacate and they do something else here?
The phantom attacks have me very concerned about the injury, obviously. And I think up until this point, Jamie Hayter has been an excellent champion. I love her and I want her to get well soon, work on the shoulder injury, heal up soon. So in that case, I don't want my girl to get squashed in 30 seconds. So have her vacate, and then let's have an open match for the championship and get the surprise, because I just want her to get healed up, but I do not want her to get squashed in 30 seconds. That's the last thing I want to see. I love Toni Storm, but that's not going to be a splash for me. I know it'll be a great boost for the Outcasts, but you need a big name to get that championship. And we've kind of talked about it earlier. If Statlander's healthy, get her out there tonight and have her win the championship. Give my girl a belt.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so Daza made the same point that he's worried about Hayter because she's injured and this may be a quick loss. So that is definitely a concern. And Daza also brings up that this is a big worry as Hayter for Wembley. How bad this injury is. Does she require surgery? Because missing Wembley would be awful. I would hate to see that happen.
No, the better story, in fact, would be that hopefully she can get healthy in that time and she could win it back at Wembley, and that would be the biggest deal in the world. So.
Right. If that's depending on the timeline.
Then you've gotta. But that's as someone who prefers the New Japan style, if you can't defend it, then you need to vacate it and somebody else can pick it up.
And listen, after Britt Baker made a big stink about having an interim championship, we can't do that again.
Seriously.
Let's not walk it back now.
And so Grace says Jamie's gonna.
Sorry, sweet.
It's okay.
Got it. You go.
Not a problem. Jamie is gonna drop it to Tony. Then Statlander is gonna join the homegrown. So I kind of thought at some point Statlander comes back to join the homegrowns. My guess, this is where Jordynne Grace debuts.
Oh, that's possible.
That's the big thing that's gonna set off the women's division. That's what Sean Ross. That's what I think Sean Ross Sapp is referring to. Her contract has been up reportedly since March, I think. There's not been any. She is a free agent. Friday night, she did have her match at Under Siege versus Deanna. I believe that Deanna retained the title. I have heard that match was outstanding, by the way. And so I think Jordynne is gone, and I think Jordynne will. I think this is where you debut Jordynne. This is how you shake up the women's division. The only thing with that, though, is I assume that if she's coming, and I don't know that they will bring her into the big women's storyline as far as just let her be a champion and kind of wrestle women who are not involved in the Outcasts or the Originals. But if she is, then clearly she would join the Outcasts because, she's not an original. So that could be a big, huge, but that would be really interesting if you've got, so then your Outcasts are Saraya, Ruby, Tony, and Jordynne Grace, and then your original. So then you need Chris. So then maybe that's how Chris comes back. Maybe Jordynne joins them and Chris comes back to even the odds a little bit. So maybe that's where that happens. I don't know. I feel like Jordynne, if Jordynne Grace is free and Jordynne Grace has either signed or maybe is still a free agent, this is where I would put Jordynne. I would bring her in this spot to make up for that, because losing Jamie is huge, and that is going to hurt this women's division. Jamie is super over. She got over by herself mostly, and it's going to hurt to lose her, and you've got to fill that void somehow. And Mercedes Moné is injured herself. You can't, so that takes her out of the equation. So Jordynne Grace is who I would put in that place if I were Tony. That is what I would say. Let's see here. So Daza says, if Hayter gives up the title tonight and there's a free-for-all match, maybe Saraya wins it to build for Wembley. But Saraya, the only thing with that is Saraya cannot always wrestle. She has talked about her endometriosis issues have kept her out of the ring at times. So I don't, and that's still a few months away. So Saraya could do like MJF, where she just picks and chooses when she wants to defend her title. So they could do that with her if they wanted to. So maybe that is a route that they take, Daza. If they can't, especially if they can't get Jordynne Grace in this situation, then maybe you do that. Maybe that would shake up the women's division a little bit by putting the title on Saraya. But I don't think it's the big thing that Sean Ross Sapp was referring to, but maybe it is. Brad said, thanks, Brad. He said, just to let you know, I'm not participating since I'm barbecuing, but I am listening along. Thank you for still listening. We appreciate that.
I'm going to be barbecuing afterwards, so I understand.
It's raining a lot today, so there will be no barbecuing over here today. Maybe tomorrow when the weather's a little
finally
bit better.
Got some. Oh no, let's not do a weather segment right now. So we have a lot of matches still left.
Local on the 8s, right here.
Exactly. Kilo, what's your weather like?
Kilo gets it.
It is partly cloudy right now, according to Jim Cantor, 75 degrees.
There we go. Nice. So Nikki said that she and I have been discussing this a lot about Jordynne and Statlander and like all of the how do you make we've had this discussion a lot. Grace says if Jordynne Grace shows up, I think she doesn't join a faction. I would like to not see her in a faction. I would like Jordynne just to win the title and go about her own business. Maybe that could set up some stuff with Taya. If Taya does not win, if she doesn't beat up Jade, Jordynne and Taya have a storyline stuff from their time in Impact together. So
he
they
is
could
more
potentially
watching than me.
He
watches Impact more than I do. So
that could set up some stuff too. So there's a lot of interesting things that are going on between these two women's matches. There's a lot more going on in the women's division than it than it looks like. So there could definitely be some interesting stuff happening with both of those matches tonight. So next we have the TNT Championship ladder match between Wardlow and Christian Cage.
And Detroit's least favorite person.
Good thing this match is not in Detroit.
This twice.
That would be Christian Cage versus Detroit.
It was louder the second. I just think it's hilarious. What's funny to me is not that it happened the first time. It's that it was louder the second time. We've had 2 Dynamites here. He's tried to talk twice. He has not been able to. I still don't know what the heck he said. I was in the building. I can't, I had to go back. So.
Keila, before we answer this, I have a question that I don't know if you'll know the answer to. Do you know anything about Edge's contract status?
I honestly do not know. I think he's been talking about retirement a lot, and I honestly believe if he does leave WWE, he will slide through to have one more feud with his best friend. I honestly, truly believe that because Christian returned at the Royal Rumble 2 years ago. I thought, oh, he's back, and then he left. So I think they want to finish that story somewhere else if possible.
Right. And if they wanted to team up one more time, they also have the Hardy Boys that they could face.
Geez.
Can you imagine
crap.
One more time for the road?
Just one more time for the road, and then that's your swan song? Man.
That would, that'd be really good on one of the, like a Double or Nothing or an All In or like one of your.
You could even put that on. They could even save that for All Out if they wanted to, because they don't have to have something for All Out.
Maybe not this year, but I mean, you got Sting talking about the same kinds of things, and
yeah, so that's
this is, I was saying this. We were talking about this yesterday. This kind of leads into something we were chatting about, is seeing these guys being able to go out on their own terms with dignity and like with the respect that they deserve as like veteran wrestlers that have had the influence that they've had on the business. I think that's the one nice thing about is let's hope everything stays together for, like the Hardys and everything else, is because they get to like walk away on their own terms now and not in some uncouth fashion that makes
or you see like the way Sting
went
out of WWE, like you don't want to,
or even like the way that the Big Show went out of WWE.
Well, true. Right.
I mean, that was really. I love the Big Show. It made me sad.
Too.
It bummed me out. Like I don't want to feel that way about my wrestling.
Yeah, I get it. All right. I just had to throw that out.
Sorry, downer.
No,
totally
I had to put that out there
here.
to get the opinion on Edge before we got to this. So Keila, what do you think happens here with do you think Wardlow retains, or do you think Christian wins here?
Well, I also want to join in the Big Show love. Let's give Big Show a big old virtual hug. We all love him very much. As for this match, we have Wardlow. Let's think about this. A year ago, 10 power bombs to MJF, incredibly over, and then it all goes away 2 days later on Dynamite, and he's never been the same. He's been TNT champion, 3 times now, and he's in this situation. I think it will be a very good match that will exceed expectations. And Christian Cage, I do worry for him. You're in a ladder match. Listen, Edge is a cautionary tale of that. You've had concussions in the past too. I hope it's safe, laid out well. It'll be very competitive, very fun, very dramatic, but Wardlow retains against the world's most dangerous archaeologist, Christian Cage. That is my new nickname for him.
Yeah, I like it. That's what I'm going to send that tweet out later so that people know what we're talking about.
I love it. So amazing. I partially want Kevin Ely to listen just because he has the Photoshop skills to put that together for us.
Please,
like our Moxley.
We will at him and see if he can. We might at him in the Slack.
We might have to be nice, really, really nice. Actually, I mean, we're nice anyway, but extra nice.
Right, Mel. What do you think happens here?
I think that Wardlow should keep the belt. I think he needs to keep it. So I hope that this is just something that is to put, keep him, just Christian helping him like continue on. And I don't know, but this match, I'm not super excited. This match is probably my least, I'm the least excited about this match for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Like where the story's gone, the potential for injury. I mean, the last time I saw a ladder match that was somebody's ankle did a 360. I don't know. Maybe there's more here than just maybe this is meant to set something up. Maybe we get less match and more story in this.
Yeah, I can see. I'm going into this, I think, with low expectations, but I do agree with Keela. I think this match is going to deliver. I think this is going to be maybe a sleeper match. I think everybody's expecting it to because the story is just kind of thrown together. They don't know what they're doing with Wardlow. They don't really know what they're doing with Christian or Luchasaurus for that matter, or it appears that way to us. So maybe that is where we get the storyline kind of thing. But Christian is still kicking ass and doing amazing. I don't want him to be injured either. I am kind of concerned about that. So I'm back and forth with this, because at first when he came out and challenged, I was like, put the title on him. I mean, at this point it doesn't matter, because they don't know Wardlow. They've lost everything they had with him. Why not put it on Christian at this point? Nikki said put it on Zaddy Cage. But then she also said, even though it would be weird for Wardlow to drop the title right after Arn Anderson joins him, which is the conversation she and I have had, because we were like, I mean, I guess they could have him lose and then Arn just kind of Blackpool Combat Club him and just rebuild him into what Wardlow should be. So maybe he does get the loss, and then Arn is like, oh boy, we are gonna we're gonna fix this.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I don't know where they go with this. I mean, Wardlow makes the most sense of him retaining. Gray says Wardlow retains, then he fights Big Dino. The Gothic Dinosaur. Gothic Dinosaur versus Wardlow. Probably.
Cornered by the greatest archaeologist.
So now you kind of have to keep them together, right? Because he's the archaeologist who excavated Goth Luchasaurus.
It's like Encino Man, but way more.
Oh my gosh!
Listen, the way we're telling the story is way more
Indiana Jones.
This backstory is so much better than the actual build-up for this.
That's match. What I was just about to say, Keela. We were writing this story way better than. I would enjoy the story much more if it was laid out the way the backstory was what we said.
I'm still stuck on Zaddy Cage. I'm still sitting there. Thank you, Nikki, so much. That's my new nickname too, Zaddy. Yeah, I know that's right.
We love Zaddy Cage. So Dawson said, I bet there will be a lot of very slow ladder climbing. I think you're correct. I will take the over on that.
Oh my God. There's a DraftKings right now that's
how
long does it take Christian Cage to ascend
and then if he does make it to the top, he's gonna very slowly take the title off the hook.
Like a sloth.
Yeah.
His hands are to reach
He's got
up.
the Orange Cassidy sloth style. That's a very good question. Why do wrestlers suck at climbing ladders? I think they're afraid of heights and they are trying not to.
Some of them are actually. I mean, that is for legit, because I actually witnessed that with Blood and Guts, and the fact that a couple of those wrestlers legitimately that were doing the cage spots were scared up there. They were needing help down in commercial breaks.
Oh no.
It's
listen,
I think it's a lot. We kind of take it for granted. We're like, these guys are crazy. They do crazy stuff all the time. They climb to the top of 50-foot cage and jump off of it. No big deal. And it's like,
Then they actually stop. If they're not thinking about it, I'm sure it's not as bad. But then when you stop and especially because they were I think I've seen they were testing it out. I think it was when they were doing the cage match with JAS, and it was Sammy and Daddy Magic, and I think it was Jake Hager, and I think it was basically all of JAS minus Jericho, and they were on the little slide taking them up to the top, and Daddy Magic was trying to scare them a little bit and was like, and they were all like,
maybe
and
there'll be like escalator ladders or something.
Right. There you go. Nikki said, she said, "You're very welcome. Also, I thought Zaddy Christian sounded inappropriate." Zaddy Christian, yeah. Maybe I better stick with Zaddy Cage on that one. Might get in trouble.
Listen, there are Zaddy Christians somewhere in America.
You are, you know, you're not wrong.
Corner that market, Nikki. Corner that market and trademark it. Create a dating app. ZaddyChristians.com.
Oh my God.
This is why I love having Keelan.
Yes. This is amazing. Look at us workshopping over here. Grace said, "We are all carnies." Yes, great booking. We are. Or we've watched a lot of carnies for a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful. It's okay.
Whew, all right, let's see. So the next match they have listed is the AEW World Tag Team Championship with FTR versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. This is the match where they have the special enforcer in Mark Briscoe. Or I'm sorry, he's the special guest referee, not the enforcer. I believe that's Sabu's title.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Before we get Nikki wants, she said that's a fantastic idea. Do you get 25% for that, Keela?
Now listen, I'm gonna consult my man Matt Hardy. We're gonna talk about it. It might be 30% knowing his ass. So I'll get back to you. The percentages go up.
Oh gosh.
Breaking Keela Cage visits Hardy family compound. Scoops.
Oh man.
Keela Cage, Keela Cash. Yeah, I'm with it. See, the Cage thing got me. I'm just got.
She's changing her name for when she runs that.
Yeah, that's her gimmick.
Website. That's yeah, Keela Cage. All right, let's go back to this tag team championship match. If we're all Keela, if you are recovered from this, what do you think happens here with FTR and Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett?
First of all, what have I done to this show? It's gone off the rails in the last 3 minutes.
You're fine. You're fine. This is the perfect show. We love going off the rails here at Powerbombshells. We're excellent
I love
at
it too.
Yeah, if you're first time watchers because you're watching the pre-show, welcome, because sometimes
this is about right.
Pretty
sure last year we had Jeff on and we were like scrolling Not in Vegas every time he was in.
Yes,
yeah, that is true. We did do that.
Yeah. MGF Watch 2023.
Yeah.
We're back now, the remix. But yeah, that was the time. It was a time to be alive last year. But for this match, you know, I have to ask a question. Have Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett broken the record for most tag team title shots in AEW? Because they've had a lot this year and they've lost all of them, and they find rematches against various tag teams.
And the Guns can't even get a rematch.
They can't even get a rematch. They're on the buy-in, and these guys hustle their way on the main card, get another title shot, and they're using poor Mark Briscoe, but he's not stupid. He figures out the game. He's very impartial here, but I loved him on Wednesday. Now, he almost yeeted poor Karen. Like, now, be careful. Now, don't yeet her off the stage. Don't do that. But he's going to play a factor. He will wake up and realize that Jay is not his friend, and then he'll make the right decision. FTR retains. It should be very entertaining, but Jay and Jeff have been very entertaining as a tag team, despite these various tag team title shots.
Yeah, you could have like a drinking game every time. It's like, if they lose, when do they get their next title shot? It's been interesting. They have not winning anything and getting these title shots. Mel, what do you think happens here?
I could see them giving it to them just because, like, giving it to Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett just because there's like a big deal with them right now, and there's a lot of people out there that are really enjoying this thing.
Man, I just thought of something when you said that. I think Karen Jarrett's she's gonna cost FTR the titles.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I mean,
they're gonna TNA this up.
I mean,
the only way to do it.
Yeah, because what I said when they came out the other day, I was like, man, y'all are worried about AEW and WCW, but they just gave us a TNA.
TNA.
That's exactly what that was. I think they're gonna TNA up this match.
It seems like FTR should retain, but given the fact that, especially with Aussie Open out of the title picture for the other side, and them like doing stuff, future programs with them, this is like the perfect time to give Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and they can silly that there are a lot of people really enjoying. Like I have a friend who is on the Jeff Jarrett, like the Triple J train. He is hyped for it. He loves it. There's a lot of people. This is making a lot of people happy, and I don't know. It could be one of those.
They have to run with it, like kind of like with the Acclaimed. Like the Acclaimed got hot, and they had to redo the Swerve Keith Lee tag team match and put it on the Acclaim. They had to kind of switch gears a little bit. So yeah,
They've proven that they can put the belts on FTR anytime they want to. Basically, they just did it.
Yeah.
So I mean, why not give it a whirl for the sort of traveling around the summer stuff and doing all the things they're doing? And if there's anyone that's Canadian involved, who knows?
Sanjay is, I believe.
Well, there you go.
So Daza said, this has been the most I've been entertained by this little faction. And he thinks that if FTR is going to Collision, that is indeed a split type of deal. So do they take the tag team titles with them to Collision? Would be interesting.
They better not. That's stupid. I would hate that. Sorry, that's my hot take on that.
Gray said that he thinks Jay turns babyface. Yeah, I can see it. Definitely see that happening. Because he's not, like I said, he's not stupid. They've been using their friendship. Jay's been using his friendship against him. And he just was Wednesday. He was just like, I'm not having this. I'm just gonna beat up everybody. Maybe he beats up everybody and he just takes both titles for himself. Nikki said, "Oh, this is I think in reference to Karen costing them the match." She said, "Oh wow, I hate that." And listen, neither of us are FTR fans, and so if you hear us. And I hate that. And Nikki also said, imagine giving Jay and Jeff the tag titles, but not giving it to Best Friends. Oh. Nikki and I are still very mad that Best Friends have not had, they should have had the titles a long time ago. So should Proud and Powerful, they should have had it a long time ago.
Yes. So oh my God. The latter team, that still pisses me off. And now they're gone.
Yep. Yeah, they're apparently not on
getting
the same
along
page anymore. They're apparently
very
fractured in real life.
Bummer.
They're apparently they are not friends anymore. Apparently,
you know what? I think I heard that too because
they had a falling out. It sounds like, and which I hate, and so I hate that happened, and so I think Karen's gonna get involved somehow. I will probably lead to Jeff and Jay getting the titles. I personally would just put them on Satnam and Sanjay because to me they are the best part.
They are fun.
That to me, like Sanjay is killing it, and now Satnam's kind of getting into his groove, and he's kind of finding like his comedic side a little bit, and which is really entertaining. And the two of them together just have this like great chemistry, and they're fun and I really enjoy them. But so I think that's probably where that is going. So the next match is the unsanctioned match with Chris Jericho versus Adam Cole. And now this is where we have Sabu is now involved as a special enforcer because they don't want Bobby Fish, I guess. So they were like, nah, man. Somebody said that they're taking the newer, younger talent in Sabu. Over old man Bobby Fish.
Damn.
The fact that there was no ECW chant that happened when this moment happened was a missed opportunity. But fans,
I think people were just really freaking
people were stunned.
I did not see this coming.
I think Taz was even stunned, and then he was like, "Oh, tits! I get to hang out with one of my best friends in Vegas for the whole weekend."
He's like, yeah, I know that guy.
Dude, I just read the Sheik's, like the book Brian Solomon wrote about the Sheik, and Sabu is his nephew. So he's
cool.
like, there's the whole last section. I mean, like him and Taz they've got to still be tight. Like now he was like, Taz was like stunned because he was realizing that he was going to get a whole weekend with one of his best friends that he hasn't seen in forever in Vegas. He's like, yeah.
That is so insane. Daza asks a very good question. How is he an enforcer but in Adam Cole's corner? He's enforcing that Jericho and JAS mind their own business, I guess.
It's unsanctioned. He can do it any way he wants to. He can.
Right. Because if it's
Jeff Hawkins suggested they call up Abdullah the Butcher and get him on here too. So
listen, give that man a payday.
So, I mean, hey,
Grace said Detroit.
I mean, it was funny to me. I was laughing because I was like, where in the hell did they find Sabu? I know he still works around here all the time, but like, and they're part of the community, but dang.
Yeah, and apparently like Sabu and Jericho only wrestled like one time in like 2006 or something. Like it was like,
but they were in Japan together at the same time, not necessarily working for the same promotions, but they were, because Sabu did a lot of like, well, he did both. He worked with Baba and Inoki, but he also did FMW. So like he was doing the hardcore matches and stuff too. So he bounced around until he landed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the Sheik was working for one company and he was working for the other. And the Sheik was like, no, that Sheik was working for Baba. So he was working for All Japan, and Sabu was working for New Japan. So, or he at least got offered a contract with New Japan, and he was like, you don't have to worry about, there's no heat between us. You're my family. Like, go take that and take your payday and all these things. So it was like, but I mean, I never imagined that, like, and that's so long ago. I'm talking about a book that's like a history book about a guy, and this is like the late 90s ECW level stuff. And then all of a sudden he just shows up, and I'm so.
Yeah,
this should be fascinating. I'm very interested in this because
it's like when MJF was bringing people for Jericho. Like people just keep bringing people to like old school wrestlers to Jericho, because like they brought him. Well, not just old school, but like they brought Nick Gage. They brought Hoovy in for him.
Yeah.
Now there's Sabu. It's like now it's their gimmick, is they just bring in random people.
Does he live in Vegas now? I wonder.
I don't know.
He does.
Nikki said, I legit thought you said Paula Abdul for a second, and I was like, Paula on a pole? What are we doing here?
Straight up.
I knew someone was going to say it. Mel, sneaky. Thank you.
Welcome.
Bless you.
You're welcome. Gotta do it. I'm the fun
opposites
master.
attract.
This is what I do here.
Sam. Oh, come on, y'all. I knew it was coming.
I was a Paula Abdul fangirl when I was growing up. I own
that cassette.
I did too. I used to, yeah. And then like Elijah Wood has been one of my favorites since I was like 8. So like he was in the Forever Your Girl video, and yeah, I love her. And I got to see her a few years ago. I went to see it was Paula Abdul and Boys to Men and New Kids on the Block, and I took Nikki for her birthday.
You are freaking me out. You're like way back machining me hard.
It was great. It was Nikki and I were living our best lives. We like turned into Nikki said in a Forever Your Girl match. I would enjoy that match.
Oh, the pre-show is always so much fun.
Again, somewhere in the way back in the comments, I believe it was Daza said going off the rails is why he loves this show.
Well, thank you, Daza. We love that you're here.
Because we frequently go off the rails, and
you gotta keep things interesting. It can't be all just serious stuff. There's plenty of serious stuff on the network.
Yes. So here we go. Going off the rails is why I love the show. Grace says normal. Yeah, this is pretty normal for us. Daza did make a comment. I forgot, and I was like, I don't want to go off into it, but we're already off the rails. So apparently Fast X was wild, which I can imagine because
I'm sure.
yeah, I did not know until Keila. I didn't know until a few weeks ago we were talking about Fast and the Furious. I didn't know they went to space.
Oh my
Matt,
God.
I was like, they did what? Yeah, apparently they went to space in the last one.
And it's not over. Like Vince says,
No.
we got part 2. I said part 3.
Yeah, because he was like, I think they were asking. I think I saw somebody quote tweet it. I can't remember if it was Vin, and they were like, "Why do you keep making this movie?" He was like, "Because it keeps making a bunch of money."
People keep
That part. They
going.
keep
Listen,
going.
I mean, Orange Cassidy has been on the record many times saying that this is his favorite franchise. So, like, I'm sure
I have a very good
riding high.
friend who is.
He's got Fast and Furious 10. He's the champion. Like, Orange Cassidy is living his best life right now. So I guess we should circle back around to this unsanctioned match that we clearly care so much about. And so,
Well, I mean, Sabu, right?
right. So
I don't know. I don't know what the real
I know
deal
they
is.
ripped up the contract and stuff or whatever. So is JAS banned from this too or no?
No, because Jericho said, hell, a sanctioned match. My friends are allowed out here. You only have one friend in Roddy Strong. So who you got? And then.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how this happened. Man, if ever there was a time for Kyle O'Reilly to come
that
back.
was where I figured this was the most obvious. But maybe if he came back in that match and then you helped later.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
Kyle, we're making you listen. You've been out for a while. We're double booking you tonight.
I actually think that he wouldn't care. It seems like ready to go.
I did see Adam Cole give an
is.
update the other day. He was doing an interview somewhere, and he said that Kyle is doing well. He's found treatment that works for him. He didn't give a whole lot away, so I don't know if that was on purpose because maybe we do see him show up tonight, or if it's just because he's just on, if that was just a regular old update, or if that's a little bit of a he's working things out, he's doing great, he's coming to help me out on Sunday type of thing. So who do we think wins this match, Keila?
Well, I have to go back to what Mel said earlier. So we have Sabu come out on Wednesday and he shocks the crowd so much we don't even get an ECW chant. That's how shocking this was.
Right.
I checked my bingo card. I'm like, Sabu's not here, but here he is on Dynamite in the year 2023. I couldn't believe it. It was quite the moment. Taz legit was shocked. Like, what in the ECW is going on here? Where's Paul with the checks? Wait, pause. What checks? I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
So we circle back here, and I'm like, thank God Adam Cole has name value and equity against Chris Jericho because he will survive a Chris Jericho feud, unlike Eddie Kingston and Ricky Starks, because Ricky ain't got no friends. So even if Adam loses this match, he'll be okay because he's Adam Cole, baby. But if I had to pick, I'm going with Adam. But knowing Chris Jericho, he'll find a way to win the first match in this feud.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you don't think this is the end of the feud? You think we're still going?
Only the beginning, yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're going just straight out with an unsanctioned match in the first. Man, how in the world? How do you top an unsanctioned match? Maybe this is where we get the Paula Abdul on a pole match.
Yes, the next step.
Nikki did say Paula always wins. So.
I mean,
Mel, what do you think? You think Jericho finds a way to get the win here, or you think Adam Cole pulls it out?
I think Jericho wins because he finds another hardcore Japanese wrestler to show up randomly that lives in Vegas or can fly from there. Now that they've got Sabu, because like Jericho wrestled with so many people in Japan when he was in that time frame that he could pull anybody. Like I think it's probably going to be Jericho. I think that I'm going to go, I agree with Keila in that, I don't think that they're going to give Adam Cole. I think they're going to build this up just a little more and make him, he's obviously huge face, but they're going to make him really facey, super duper facey, highlight of Forbidden Door potential.
Yeah.
Level.
So Nikki says that Sandman, so Jericho's going to bring in. Look, I can see that happening.
I wish my friend was around because I know that he would have like 20 names that he could.
Oh, I'm sure. Right.
I know that he would know like someone really good to bring in. But.
Yeah, he's gonna bring in some like person I've heard of but have never seen wrestle before.
Right.
Or he wrestled in WCW, but I was talking about this last night about how I was a teenager when I watched WCW, and I watched it every week, but there's a lot of stuff I just don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then there will be wrestlers, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like when I realized that Taka wrestled on WCW, I was like, wait, that's the same guy? Like, so that's going to be something that happens to, like, they're going to bring out somebody like, wait a minute. I saw that guy like 2 times in 1998. Forget. Nikki said, I don't know if he was the first person I thought of that's not Paula. Listen, if Paula Abdul doesn't come out in Vegas, what are we doing here?
Seriously.
But yeah, that's interesting. I kind of thought had Adam Cole winning here, but I could see Jericho being Jericho and getting the win because he typically does. And that makes sense if Keela's talking about how this is just the first of a few. Mel, you talked about how, building him into super baby face. And if it is correct, if it is true that he is next in line for MJF, you've got to build him super baby face. So I could see Jericho winning here and then they get a rematch somewhere down the line, or maybe just on a random Dynamite, because there's 9 million things about to happen this summer, and you got to fill those shows up. You still have to book Dynamite before you get to Forbidden Door and stuff. So so that would be interesting. So this says, Robo Duke says Sabu needs to follow this match with a feud and or team up with Hook. I was thinking about Hook too.
Hilarious.
Maybe he manages Hook for a little bit. So somebody did ask on the media call if this was a one-off appearance for Sabu. He said, as of right now, that is the plan. However, basically, if he gets super over, gets the same kind of reaction that he got the other night, maybe they'll find a way to bring him back in. You could team him up with Hook and make that, like, I don't think the man's ever going to wrestle in a ring. I don't see that happening. Maybe he gets in a couple, like maybe he grabs somebody's leg or gets in a chair shot or something like that. I could see that happen. That could happen tonight. I could see him going off on Jericho. But yeah, so Sabu, I thought about Hook too, and that would be kind of cool to have Sabu and Hook do something just for that. I think that would just pop Taz. All right, let's see. So we have the Anarchy and the Arena match, which is the Real Elite. Not contrary to what John Moxley says. And Adam Page says that they are in fact the heart and soul of AEW. So we have the Elite, which is Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page versus Blackpool Combat Club, and Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta. So this is fun. This is a perfect place to bring back Anarchy in the Arena, and between these 8 men, I don't think you could have chosen 8 better men to do this with, especially with the way Blackpool Combat Club have been running and operating lately. They want to take everything and their heels, except everybody loves them. So Keela, what are your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so this is going to be the match of the night. I firmly believe that. I don't know what Mox was doing on Wednesday with the voice, but I was liking it. It was like a very husky tone. I approved. Very Zaddy-esque. Hi, Nikki. How you doing?
Absolutely.
I approve of that tone. Keep it going. I do expect this to be the most violent match in AEW history. I expect lots and lots of blood. It's going to be violent. It's going to be gnarly. I'm excited. My only critique is on Wednesday, you had my guy, my one-eyed Hangman Page, return backstage. Let me say it again. Backstage to talk about his reunion with the Elite. You have that in the ring with Renee or Tony Schiavone. Why downplay that moment? I think somebody made a good point, I believe, on Observer Radio. I think Dave or Brian made that point of when Sami Zayn did what he did with Roman Reigns, we didn't have no backstage segment. It was in the ring. Make this moment feel as big as possible because you've been building it up for 3 years. And that was a moment for this moment in the ring. Let Hangman talk to the people about what happened.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Keela. I think that was definitely the wrong call to do that backstage. That should have been, that should have been in the ring, in to give the people, especially because people like when the crowd was so loud when he returned. Like that pop was insane. Like they
love
go
home
this
show
guy.
for the freaking pay-per-view. Like,
right?
I mean, come on, you got your. There's still tickets out for this. I know I make this point every week. I'm such a nerd, but there's still tickets out for this, and there are
Jay White, sell the tickets.
And there are comped tickets that are now in the mix. And I mean, it's come on. Like I'm totally with that. It's like I'm like sitting here going, geez, why didn't they do that?
Right. Yeah, and I think and so they've made the point, and I guess we'll kind of get this to hit this when we get to the next match, that like how do you this is because obviously the 4 Pillars match is the main event. Like where do you put this on the card to not have people shit all over the 4 Pillars basically? Because like you can't. They gotta be very careful. Like you can't open the show with this because then you don't have time to catch your breath, and then usually it's a women's match that gets stuck after it as the cool down match, and so can't do that. So it'll be interesting to see where they put this match, because I understand why you have like they've already said MJF and the rest of the Pillars are the main event. You should make your world championship. I get making that the main event. But this is the true main event. Like it reminds me, because I was listening to the Fight Game Media extra thing it was Garrett and Paul and Jeff were talking about, like they were just asking questions about Double or Nothing, and that's what they were talking about, like where do you put this match, and like the 4 Pillars is not really it is the main event, but this is actually the main, and it actually reminded me a lot of when CM Punk was in WWE, and he should have been main eventing some of these pay-per-views. He was the biggest match, and they were putting him in the middle of the pay-per-view, or like a little bit further down the card, but like 2 or 3 matches away from the main event, when he should have been the main event. And that's kind of what this reminds me of, is like, and I've heard, that apparently MJF has been the one who has been booking the storyline, which is interesting, which I think obviously good for him for, throwing himself into that. And I get wanting to make the 4 Pillars into a bigger thing. Like I think on paper, it sounded really good. Just the execution has not been great. And I know I'm talking all over the Anarchy match and should be saving this, and I just went on a tangent, but it's really, I just don't know where you put these 2 matches when Anarchy in the arena, especially because it has 8 men that fans love so much. Like they are the most beloved people like in this company. And so it's just, I do think this is going to be, match of the night. It's going to steal the whole show. This is what people are going to be talking about tomorrow. And for the, the next few weeks, I think this is what people are going to be talking about. And Gray makes the point. This is Babyface Elite. Babyface Elite is on a different level. And it'll be interesting to see, are they going to be all kind of clicking on the same thing here, because there was some tension between Kenny and Hangman. So do we see a united front from the Elite to get things done against Blackpool, or do we see some kind of tension between Omega and Hangman flare up?
And does Don Callis show up and make it worse? Go ahead, Keila.
God, Don Callis. The one blessing was when he turned on Kenny Omega, and that was actually one of the few times I was legit shocked at a turn. Like I did not see it coming. I was very happy because I want him the hell away from the Elite. But then I also think about the possibility of, and I hate they're gonna do this to my guy, Konosuke. Y'all gonna turn my guy heel. I think he's gonna come out here, cause some trouble, and join the Blackpool Combat Club, cost the Elite this match. I just got a feeling Don is not done with the situation. And I do sense that despite the Elite being back together, Hangman and Omega still got some simmering issues. It has not been settled, and they got to talk it out, preferably in a wrestling ring and not backstage with Renee.
On BTE.
On BTE. Right? Don't do
that. So they did have
on the televisions.
Yeah, so they did do on BTE earlier this week. They had the part where, so Alex, the Elite were in the locker room. They're singing the Chili's theme song together, the Baby Back Ribs version of the song. And Alex Reynolds hears it. It pisses him off. It pisses off John Schuyler and Evil Uno. And he was like, they're singing the song we stole from them. Alex comes storming in, and he was like, and then he tells it. He just was like, Kenny, or he was like, Kenny Matt Jackson told them to turn on you, or told Hangman to hit you with the lariat so that you could win. And I can't. And then basically, like, what are you going to do about it? And Kenny was like, I know that happened. It was like the most anticlimactic thing. They were like, he was like, it made sense. It was my time. Hangman needed that, or it was my time to lose. It was Hangman's time to have the belt. I wasn't very nice. And and then they're like talking about friendship, and they're like showing. And as this is happening, like as Alex is like ranting at him, they show Hangman Page in the bathroom with the door open, shirtless, shaking his hips while he pees. It's this insane thing. And then I will not say here what Kenny made. What Kenny said. Kenny did make a reference to a very popular song about their neck and their back. He said the full line. I think that was a reference to the little video that got made about Roddy Strong a few weeks ago. Somebody made a music video of Roddy kicking ass, and that is the song that they used. And so I believe it was a reference to that. Then Kenny Omega posts the picture of him and Hangman Page holding two cats, and he's like, I thought this was the perfect time to bring this back. Adam Page commented on it with those lyrics. So maybe they're on the same page, or maybe this is all a front to make people think they're on the same page, and then once they get in the ring together, that's not quite what happens here. So Brad says that he's thinking that we get a debut here. He said he thinks we're going to get a Bushi here.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. And then Nikki says, she asks a very important question. Did Hangman Page's eye grow back in time for the match?
Now, if he follows the Jon Moxley plan, the eye will grow back in about 2 months.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So maybe by Forbidden Door, hopefully his eye will be. Wait, when was his eye originally injured? How long ago was that?
That was 3 Dynamites ago.
Okay. So we got some time. Let's see.
It was before. Was it before or at? No, was it at the Detroit one, or was it before then?
Well, no, he had it injured before then because he's been off TV with his injured eye.
Right.
Then he did the House Rules show.
We didn't get to see him.
Yeah, and then he did the House Rules show and debuted the eye patch. Actually, he did a fan convention because my friend was at the convention to meet somebody else and saw Hangman wearing the patch then. So he's fully committed to his repairing his eyeball and growing it back. So Nikki said, she said, I hope it's not first or second like a lot of Young Bucks matches. Yeah, I really hope they don't do it early in the card. They do like to put Young Bucks on in like second or third spot.
And I've been on a little sort of like insidery thing is that I've heard Mox is committed to making this one better than the last one because
I'm sure
he learned a lot from it, and he wants to do all these. He has like all these new ideas because he's that creative guy. So I'm just like, yay! But also like, this could be the whole show almost,
right? Yeah. Right. Nikki said that Hills do not get Cinnabon. So that's something to think about, Takeshita. Do you really want to give up Cinnabon?
They were
for
Don Callis so fast.
Yeah, that's something you gotta think about. But yeah, Mel and I have been wondering for weeks, like, what is Don Callis? What is his objective with Takeshita? So perhaps that's who he was talking to on the phone, because a lot of people thought he was talking to Will Ospreay on the phone a couple of weeks ago when he was running away and Alex Marvez was chasing after him. So maybe he was on the phone with Takeshita and was telling him to book a flight to Vegas because he's about to get in a cage match. Well, I guess Anarchy is not necessarily in a cage. It's kind of, is it cage only, or is this, or am I thinking of Stadium Stampede? Because Stadium Stampede is cinematic all over the place, but Anarchy in the arena is more confined within, I guess, the arena bowl, the concessions area.
Yes.
And I believe this will still have a cage, correct? I believe did they all have cage, or was it just blood and guts in the cage? Maybe
Just
I'm
blood and
mixing up.
guts. Yeah, blood
Okay.
and guts.
Okay, so I'm mixing up I'm mixing up my 3 matches here. Listen, at this point, they could do all of them if they wanted to. They could go all over the stadium, be in a cage. I mean, maybe that's what happens next. Maybe after, because the Elite, if the Elite do lose here, then they're gonna want a rematch. So then maybe that's how we get to Stadium Stampede at Wembley.
Ooh, that is a great idea. Look at Sam.
She's really good at
the gimmicks. Come on.
I do have to give credit to my friend for that. He was like, this was before we knew about this match. He was like, I would do Stadium Stampede in Wembley. And so we were trying to figure out. So I think this could be how we get to it. And then that's where you have Ibushi. If Ibushi doesn't come tonight, bring him to London against Takeshita, because they have Takeshita. So I would bring Ibushi.
I guess the good news with like the Ibushi situation, good, bad, or different, like there is no heat with him in New Japan. Apparently, like bygones are bygones on that one. So if AEW did decide to bring in Ibushi, it wouldn't like conflict with their New Japan thing at this point. So it is possible.
Relationship in any way.
It is possible. I just don't. I thought when we were in Detroit was like the best chance for that to happen. For some reason, I felt like that was when he might, like, it would be something really random like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe Forbidden Door, but it seems like they might wait on that one if they're even going to bring him in.
Right.
But it wouldn't shock me. I just don't see Ibushi on the show tonight, but it doesn't mean he won't show up. What do I know?
Right. So Gray says that he thinks this match will be midway through the show. Yeah, I could see this being like the big midway point show, and then hopefully they don't screw the women over and make them, unless the only way they can do that is if they put Jamie and Tony there and Jordan comes. Then I would be fine with that being afterwards. Otherwise, put Wardlow and Christian here. Sorry, guys. You have to follow that. Okay, so back to the main event that I got carried away with a few minutes ago. It's the AEW World Championship 4-way with MJF, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Sammy Guevara. This has been an interesting main event. It has not been one that seems to be selling a lot of tickets. Bless MJF for trying his best to make this happen. He is trying to get these guys like on the same level as him and trying to bring them with him, and it's just the promo segments are hurting more than they're helping. They're quite repetitive. Some of them are just still finding their way on the mic. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who I love. Reminds me a little bit of Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy used to be awful on the microphone, and they used to just be like, you just wrestle and we'll let your brother talk a little bit. And they've done that. It's okay. You don't have to be, some people are not good at all of that. That's all right. But in this situation, it was repetitive, and we're doing the same things. And I don't know how I'm sure they'll find a way to save it. I have faith, and I think all 4 of them will deliver a great match. I just don't. This poor building has been a little sad. So Kilo, what are your thoughts on the build of this and what happens here?
The build has been very so. Honestly speaking, it peaked at MJF's bar mitzvah. That's when it all kind of hit its peak. For me, it's been so ever since. Sam Guevara, now you want to be a babyface? Like, okay. So we go watch AEW All Access, and I'm supposed to like you on this show? Cool. You're a great wrestler. If this is 2 years ago, you were over as a babyface. Today, not so much. Be a heel. Better yet, leave Jericho's crew. You haven't done that yet, have you? So call me back when you do that. Darby, solid. No problems with him. Checks every box. He is who he is. Jungle Boy. Now, I will say, that he is reminding me more and more of his father in terms of his look and how he carries himself. I think he's got a heel run in him that's going to allow him to shine on the microphone. This babyface stuff is reached his limit now. He turns heel. He'll find himself. MJF, great champion. He's trying. The match will be very good. It will be great. I truly believe that. But unfortunately, you're following anarchy in the arena. I pray for you. You'll retain. No one will remember this match in a week. I hate to say that because Anarchy in the Arena says hello.
Mm-hmm. They have entered the chat.
Yes.
Very loudly have entered the chat. Mel, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, there's almost no. I mean, Keela kind of nailed everything that you could possibly. I have no expectation that MJF is dropping this belt. I think that that's madness. To even, I mean, I guess they could swerve us, but I just don't even see that being. I mean, this is clearly something to set up something, and that's fine, I guess. But I don't see MJF dropping the belt, and I like the idea. A lot of people have been throwing that out there this week, and the idea of him, Jungle Boy, doing a heel turn. I kind of do dig on that.
I think that's where that happens too. Yeah,
I'm kind of into that. They've got the setup. I mean, what keeps happening where people keep approaching him and telling him what to do and telling him what to do and telling him what to do, maybe not winning the match, essentially makes it like, that's it, I'm done listening to all of you, I'm going out on my own, like,
right.
They made F the world, like, I'm not,
yeah, I was listening to, because this is where I thought Jack, I was like, I think, I think this is where Jack Perry turns heel. It's gonna break a lot of little kids' hearts. He's very over with the younger demographic. They've been hesitant to drop the Jungle Boy gimmick because he's kind of like Darby's got the face paint. There's kids coming out with their face painted. There's kids dressed like Orange Cassidy. Jungle Boy has done really well with that demographic. But I think he finally, and they've been hesitant to drop that because he's so over with the younger crowd. But I think he turns heel here. I think he drops the Jungle Boy gimmick. I think he moves into Jack Perry. Maybe he is a little bit more like his father. Maybe he wears the leather jacket and the white t-shirt and jeans and just goes for it. And I think maybe the baby face stuff is hindering him on the microphone because he does have the inner heel in him. And I think I was listening to Jeff and Paul this morning, and they make a really good point about where they think what could happen. And I kind of agree here that Sammy is gonna drop the fake baby face gimmick here. as well, and that was never gonna stick. That was just for the MJF stuff, and I think Ty is finally gonna get to him and be like, what are you doing? Like, this is not who you are. But I think Jungle Boy, and I think Paul and Jeff were talking about it, and I believe it was Jeff who said he thinks Jungle Boy will cost Darby Allin the title tonight. Not that he's aligning with MJF, but this is his heel turn, and he's gonna cost, because Darby kind of plays it as he and Jack are the good guys, Sammy's the fake good guy, MJF is clearly the bad guy in all of this. And so maybe Jack is like, you're not going to saddle me with it. It's kind of, we're actually seeing this play out a little bit over with Dark Order, because in ROH, Stu Grayson is being recruited by the Righteous. And, they approached 2 weeks ago, they were kind of trying to get Stu Grayson to join them. And Evil Uno was like, leave him alone. Like, this is for us. And Stu turned around and he said, I can speak for myself. And I feel like, and so he was like, I'm going to go with them. And so he wrestled with them last week. He hasn't made a decision, but I kind of feel like this is what they're doing with Jack Perry as well. Like, he's going to be like, I can speak for myself. I'm tired of being told what to do all the time. And I think it was MJF made the point, like, if you're gonna succeed, you're gonna have to be bad, which we kind of saw. We saw that when he got the win the other night. So I think that was maybe a little bit of a turning point for Jack, and so I think Jack goes full heel in this match. But I do think MJF retains. So then maybe we come out of this, if we're waiting for, if Adam Cole is going to be busy with Jericho for a little bit, maybe here is where we get MJF versus Darby by themselves a little bit, or maybe it's Sammy, maybe because of the stuff. I mean, I don't know that you have Jungle Boy. I mean, you could do Jungle Boy and MJF if he's the one who cost him the match, but then you have the heel versus heel thing here. So I don't know. AEW sometimes doesn't care about that. They'll just they want to get the story, and so it doesn't matter if he's if it's two heels in a match. So that'll be kind of interesting. But I guess that kind of keeps MJF busy. It keeps the Pillars still in the spotlight a little bit, while they're biding their time to get to Forbidden Door and things like that. So that'll be really interesting. But we have a lot of discussion over in the comments about this match, so I'm gonna try to get my. There we go. It wasn't moving.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So Daza thinks that this match will be awesome, but I don't think the build has done them any good, and I think the title has been lessened somewhat. I can see that. Gray agrees that this has been a poor build for this match. It should be a bigger deal. Daza said they could have done a barely legal main event where the three of them have a match to win the shot, and the match happens with MJF happens immediately. At least one would get elevated. Oh, I like that. Mm-hmm. MJF, pay attention, take notes. Dawson's got some, he's got some good ideas for you over here. That would have been, I think that probably would have been better. Brad says, I appreciate that they did the story to finally elevate three other young wrestlers. It hasn't been a good build, but I think coming out of this match will help the other three out a lot. I agree, and I think that can lead back to keeping MJF busy for a little while until he gets to Adam Cole, and they don't just like he doesn't just bring the three of them with him and then just that's it. Because you can't just bring them this far and then leave them again, and then they get, nobody knows what they're doing and everything hopefully I agree with Keela. Sammy should have left JAS a very long time ago. Mm-hmm. And the moment he said that he's only in JAS for Jericho because he's got to make Jericho look good, basically, I was like, how do you go back to JAS with that? Like, it's time for you've realized what you're there for. You've served your purpose. It is time to go. You have got to go on your own. So the same thing with Jack Perry. Like, he got away from Luchasaurus. You've got to do something with that. You can't just leave him floundering in the wind back here by himself. Nikki said, I'm fine with him turning heel, but I don't want him to drop Tarzan Boy, but I know he'd probably have to.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you can't have... I mean, Jericho's the heel, and people still sing his theme song, but...
Yeah, but his theme song is kind of heely, so...
Oh, that is true. That's
Judas is, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, especially compared to Tarzan Boy. So hopefully they'll get him a really good theme song. So,
Tony at least understands that music is important in that stuff too.
So as we're wrapping this up, what are you looking forward to the most on this card? Or just on the show in period? Maybe it's not on the card, just on the show in general.
Just looking forward to specifically Anarchy in the Arena. I think that is going to be like the match of the entire weekend. It's very busy for wrestling, but I think that's going to be the match that cannot be topped. I will say, do not sleep on Wardlow and Christian Cage, the world's greatest archaeologist. That's going to be a sneaky good match. Lucha Wardlow will make a reappearance. I don't know how, but he will. And I just think that this show, as Mel said earlier, there are tickets out there. This has not been the best built Double or Nothing. And I think this should be a warning to Tony, like, this show for the last 3 to 4 years has sold out. And this is the one that's been weak in terms of sales. So you got to look at yourself and wonder, what is it about this particular build that's fallen short? Forbidden Door, that's sold out. Wembley's great. What about this show that is a traveling weekend for fans? What about this particular show that fell short in terms of hype and excitement? And he's got to answer that perfectly tonight when the show's over, because I think it'll be good. But the build, to me, has been very, very soft.
Mm-hmm. Mel, what about you?
I mean, gosh, that's like dead on. I mean, Kilo's so right. It's exactly how I've been feeling. And I've been very meh on MJF as a champion, like as the heavyweight champion. I hope that match is good. I hope that there's something that really does elevate something on that match, or something that's memorable enough to walk away from this weekend with about that. Because right now, I mean, it's like the main event is the Anarchy match, and that, just like Kilo was saying, that should be like a concern. That should, when you look at that, you should be saying to yourself, like, no matter what I do with my champion and all of these things and all these people that have been people's favorites in traditionally up to this point. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, I'm really meh on the main event too. I'm not like, this is a missable main event almost in a way, and I hate feeling like that. But they're getting my money, so I mean, I'm going to keep supporting them. And obviously, like, one good thing about Tony, I will always say is that so far up to now, he's delivered on all the pay-per-views. So I don't have any reason to believe that the whole thing won't come off great.
Right. But I have one more question, but before we get to that, I want to come back over to the comments. So Grace said, what about a Four Pillars faction? That could have some legs if they can get over their egos. But, and MJF's going to be the leader of that. He's not going to let anybody else lead him around. But that would be, I would actually be into that if they could make it work. I think that could be a really cool thing. Daza said, even though the build on some of these things hasn't been great, the best or hasn't been the best, the great thing about AEW shows is they always rock ring wise. I agree with that. Garrett made a very good point. Has that made Tony not give a crap about his builds because he knows that the fans are going to come through? And so he just, I mean, that's been a complaint basically from early pay-per-views. And this is probably, most of the time I ignore when people are like, oh, I hate this build. To me, this has been the most lackluster build, like even more than Revolution, I would say. And so I do have a little bit of concerns about that. And I will give Tony the benefit of the doubt in the fact that A, he has the goodwill. B, they do have Forbidden Door. They've got All In. They've got All Out. Then they've got Grand Slam. But it's on Tony and his team to make sure that all of these, that you build all of this stuff. And yes, they're sellouts, but you can't. And I'm sure you basically Forbidden Door and All In, I basically think are going to be dream match cards. Maybe we do get some storyline things a little bit, maybe more at All In. Not everybody can be on All In, so maybe they're on All Out, but you can't have All Out be like Double or Nothing. Like you can't have a poor build for that, and you can't forget, like All Out can't just be an afterthought, and he's got to see what lessons to learn here from Double or Nothing. And this was the same thing. I thought this as well as for what Brad said, that Vegas is really expensive right now, especially on a holiday weekend. That has stopped me. I thought about going to Double or Nothing, I believe it was last year, and I looked at flights and they were insanely expensive just for the flights. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm doing that. So it is really expensive. And I think that has more to do with the soft crowd than anything. Airfare is incredibly high and the hotels are insane. He needs to think about moving this. That's what I was going to say. I think it's time to leave Vegas for a little bit. Like Vegas is too expensive. It is hurting people coming in.
I'm serious. 313. The arena is attached to a casino. It's attached to it. They have a lounge.
Apparently, there's also, from what I heard on the call this week, somebody asked if he would look into another venue in Vegas because it's a new thing that's opening this fall, and I think it's attached to a casino. And I was like, wait a minute, Mel just told me about this place in Detroit. And Tony was like, I am not familiar with this venue. Tell me about it. So maybe you need to at him about the place in Detroit.
You know what? I will say this. I know that there is a very influential voice in this area and in the area of wrestling at large who's in Tony's ear about getting and others about getting a pay-per-view here in Detroit. I think we were on the short list for Forbidden Door. And
hopefully you might get Double or Nothing, because I think it's time to leave Vegas.
It would work. It would be really fun. And we're getting the NFL draft next year in the early part.
Yeah, and I saw, actually, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because Charlotte has put in a bid. Charlotte's put in a bid for that. So I'm like, well, then maybe you can get some wrestling pay-per-views in Charlotte.
Dude, they are pumping money into downtown. Like, I mean, it would be like all set up and ready to go to just transition right to another big event. Because it's like, it's how close together, they're only like 6 weeks apart or something.
So Alex says, Vegas is so expensive. I was going to buy tickets, but I saw the flight prices and I backed out, not to mention hotel prices. And so I think Alex is right. And, Brad made this point too. I think that it's hurting them, especially with the way that things are with the economy right now. And then if the holiday weekend, and with it being a holiday weekend, it drives the prices up for everything, because that was literally, and even when I went to All In a few years ago, like flights and hotels were expensive because it was a holiday weekend. And so it's
hey, hard. I AARP bonus this thing, okay? And I got us down to 3,000 with airfare, hotel.
Hey, no, that's good. Listen,
that even include buying tickets to the actual event.
No, listen, if you, it will sound funny. sign up for AARP. It's $12 a year, but the reason I did it is because when I was switching cell phone companies, she was like, you get a discount every month if you are an AARP member. She's like, you could be any age. She was like, you don't have to be.
Discounts, okay?
So
Don't overlook it.
I have it so that I get a discount on my phone bill. So there's your plug for the week. AARP. It's $12. I think it's $12 a year. You get discounts.
You get a free gift right now.
Look at y'all.
Like now we really go.
Yeah, AARP. If you want to come sponsor us,
you get a free gift. Matt Hardy signs it for 25%.
Yeah. You get a free consultation with Matt Hardy.
He'll go over your Medicare insurance.
He'll promise not to go up on your premium, but he's lying because he's Matt Hardy. He wants 35% off top.
Do not trust Big Money Matt. Listen, I'm a Matt Hardy fan from way back, and even I would not trust Big Money Matt. I would go to him for advice, but I would not give him money. Daza said, I meant to say, even without Jamie Hayter's injury, they threw the match with Tony out there quite late as just two members on the elite, or I'm sorry, not on either side of warring factions, not much planning, it seems. Yeah, it seems a little kind of hastily. And again, that's a storyline that on paper should have been what the elite, and maybe not quite to that level, but it should be it should not have fallen so flat so fast, and it's trying its best not to be on life support, but it's been struggling. So hopefully they get hopefully whatever happens tonight will help them out, even if Jordan Grace comes. I would again keep her away from the faction personally, but they've got to figure out how to do this now without Jamie, which is a big blow to them. And so I do have one more question before we go. Keela, do you think that CM Punk returns tonight?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I think I'm going to be very bold and brazen and say yes, because you need to jumpstart Collision as soon as possible. I think it's a good test to have everybody in the same building, that the building did not blow up. There's not going to be another fight. Everybody can coexist. You need a shocking ending and a hook to say, tune in on June 17th to see the follow-up to this on Collision. What will CM Punk and MJF do next?
And okay, I'll actually, Mel, you go first and then I'll add to that. Mel, what do you think? Do you think CM Punk shows up tonight?
I have been thinking about this like for 2 days, and I can't talk myself out of the fact that he kind of has to, doesn't he? I mean, we have the Double or Nothing is when you have your big surprise, or
every
big
Double
thing,
or Nothing.
Or big
that's where John Moxley came.
Moxley debuts or whatever shows up, or Saraya or whatever. But it feels like you have to, and also to test the waters in front of a pay-per-view crowd with the how many people
away from Chicago,
the booing versus the because I mean, you'll have a hot crowd in here, especially if you do it like sometime during the Anarchy thing or something where you've got people on the up, like if you were to do it at that point, maybe. But I mean, they need to advertise this show. It's a new show. Like, I can't talk myself out of saying that.
I do think CM Punk comes back tonight. I haven't really given a lot of thought on how that happens. Now I'm wondering, because I think it was Jeff and Paul I think it was Jeff said maybe he comes after the pay-per-view ends. But now I'm wondering, because you bring up MJF, they have unfinished business. Does he somehow get involved? But then the only thing, because they did put MJF on the Collision poster. Do you that story is not done. CM Punk and MJF have a lot that they could tell. MJF could have lots of things to say about CM Punk and how this thing has been handled. I know they have to be careful with what is said. They have a lot here. So does CM Punk get involved in the main event, or do they? Because then you almost have to have. Obviously, I'm thinking of I'm talking about this out loud. So, then you have to have the follow up. And do you put CM Punk and MJF to do you have that follow up right away with Collision? Because I don't know that they can wait. Like, how do they? If you wait, then I don't know. So maybe I need to dial it back a little bit and think about that a little bit more. But you said MJF, and I was like, wait a minute, is this how he comes back? Does he do something here? But MJF, I still think retains, so I don't know. I do think CM Punk comes back. tonight. I don't think it's anywhere near the Elite. I think they are gonna, if whenever that happens, they're saving that. But maybe CM Punk comes with Miro and Andrade and Thunder Rosa and Scorpio Sky. Maybe they do like a Nexus thing or the Core or something like that, and they just come in and
no, Sam, not the Core. God Almighty, no.
You just triggered Keela. You're not supposed to do that.
Justin Roberts is gonna run away. Keep all ties away from Justin Roberts.
You're not supposed to trigger the guests.
Where's Danielson with his tie? We need that. That's for the canon.
Yeah, so now, but I do wonder if maybe CM Punk maybe in after the pay-per-view like ends and like before we get the NXT graphic.
Maybe he'll just show up at the scrum and freak everybody out.
God, please, oh Lord, that's gonna trigger so many people if he does that.
He doesn't come to the show. He just goes to the press scrum.
Yeah, so maybe he comes with his Collision posse and brings back him and Miro and Andrade and Scorpio Sky.
Maybe they can all cut it. They can cut a promo on God together.
Yes, the Collision posse, the God posse.
The Collision posse, yes. Maybe that's where Christian Zaddy stuff goes.
There's a God posse section for the elite zaddies on christianzaddy.com.
Oh my God, it was funny. And also it made me think of when you called John Moxley Zaddy, because a while back Renee called him, because he had he was wearing two actual belts, and she called him two belt Zaddy. Or Zaddy two belts is what she called him. So Nikki and I frequently call him.
I love that woman. She is the wonderful.
She is. So Nikki says no muffins in the back.
No muffins.
No triggers. No triggers.
Daza said at best, I think they should put CM Punk on screen, not in person. They could potentially do like a collision. Maybe we get something pop up outside of the United Center or something, and it's like CM Punk outside of the United Center with his collision posse.
And Larry the dog.
Yes, Larry is the best. I've been seeing him in the Insta stories. He's been making hockey pics. Brad said, I need Punk on the debut episode of Collision. Instead of having ice cream for all of the fans, he brought Mindy's muffins for everyone. I mean, it's only right that he gives that lady some more money and helps her out because of everything that happened. And then everybody that in the crowd that gets a free muffin, please go leave her 5-star reviews. Daza said, if Punk was to come, would there be a press conference thing? I mean, you'd have to have him do you have him at the scrum? All I know is if there is an injured person, do not put them first on the scrum. Let them go shower and get their injury looked at first.
And leave the building while you're at it. Leave the building. Get in your car, drive away.
Yeah. Yes. Go to your hotel.
I agree.
Daza said, see, MJF came on the video screen when Punk won the title at the end of a show. So does Punk come back with a video message? Daza, he could. That's one way to get around.
Safer.
I do think you have to test him out in the building with people.
However,
if they don't want to do it at the pay-per-view and they want to do it like on a Dynamite or something, then you could do the video screen package. Like Punk has got to be involved somehow. Daza says Punk versus MJF at the first Collision would be a blast to start off a new show. Yeah, I would watch that. I mean, I'm gonna watch it anyway, but I would watch that. Daza says Punk comes back at the scrum to beat up Alvarez.
Run, Brian. Get the hell out of the scrum.
Seriously. I don't think they'd ever go back after last year. They're like, no, never again.
Yeah. Nikki said elite Zaddies. Haha. We're gonna have to change the name of this episode to Zaddies.
I don't know how that'll work on the monetization, but hey, yeah.
All right. Are there any other last thoughts that you guys want to add about tonight before we get out of here, or have we covered all of the bases? Is there anything else you want to add?
We need to tell people where they can find Keela.
Yeah, that was going to be my next thing. If we didn't have anything else,
I don't have anything else. Does Keela have anything else?
I think we're good on the show. We talked about it. I think it's going to be a good show. It could exceed expectations. I would hope so, because the build has been so, but it's AEW. And if anything, Tony's going to come through in the clutch.
Yes. And Keela, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Lady Wrestling X on Twitter. They can find me tweeting about all things WWE, AEW, a little General Hospital as well. Two worlds merged into one. The crossover is truly exceptional. It really is, and I love it.
I love it.
It is. As a General Hospital fan myself, yes.
Much love here.
Which is probably how we ended up watching wrestling, because I started out with General Hospital and then moved and still watch it and have moved into wrestling as a teenager. So there's definitely the crossover for sure.
That is the exact story of my life. It was GH and then wrestling in '99, and I have not.
Okay, see, I got into wrestling
close.
about '96.
I'm a little closer than Sam, but yeah, that's about it. And I love that it's all three of us. It's General Hospital. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it could have been any. I mean, there's lots of them. It could have been anything, but but it was the true and only General.
That's so funny. General Hospital's the gateway drug for us to get into.
That's right.
It is the way. It really is the way.
It is the way.
We're like, wait, I need more drama, but I need people fighting in their underwear on top of it.
Makes total sense.
And then where can they listen to you talking about wrestling?
Yes. So me and Scott Young, my awesome co-captain, we do the wrap every Monday on the Fight Game Media free feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We did a show Sunday morning for Night of Champions, and we're running it back tomorrow morning with NXT Battleground, going head-to-head with AEW Double or Nothing. So that is why I said it's a very, 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 very busy weekend with a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Keela's a busy lady. Thank you for making the time for us today, because
definitely.
I know that you had a lot going on, so we truly appreciate you joining us, and we always love having you. We'll have to have you on in a non-pay-per-view manner. Just have you come talk about regular
BS wrestling. We can BS about all the wrestling.
So Daza said, thank you for an awesome show. You've cheered me up for not being able to get to Vegas. Hey, nobody can afford it, so we're all here.
Hashtag not in Vegas.
Yeah, hashtag not in Vegas. Hashtag Vegas watch. Somebody for CM Punk, I guess. Nikki said, very fun show. Can't wait for the Zaddies and Paula Abdul tonight.
I love you, Nikki.
And Brad said it was a fun show. Thank you to everybody who is listening. If you're catching the audio of this, you can see if our guesses were right on this show. And see, this is why sometimes, even though audio, I get it, sometimes that's what you gotta do, but sometimes you just gotta come watch live, because we gotta
you don't get to see the hat.
Some of this stuff has a little bit of time limit stuff, and so maybe you aren't getting to Double or Nothing until tomorrow anyway, so then you'll listen to us and then go watch Double or Nothing, so that works too.
And then real quick before we go, because I want to give a big shout out, because they've been so great to us, our friends from the Boom. So Kevin Ely and James McDaniel will be doing the post Double or Nothing live stream on this very channel. So if you're on here right now, all you'd have to do is literally hit subscribe and then hit notify me. The link is live. It's right here on the same exact feed. You literally could just leave this right here. And then right after Double or Nothing ends, you go and you just click right onto there, and you'll get the wonderful, awesome, cool dudes from the Boom, and they will be talking about the show after the fact. And
they'll tell you if CM Punk shows up at the scrum.
Well, maybe we can do a reversal. Maybe if we're awake, we can report the James.
Yeah, we'll come invade them
so.
Once again in the comments and be like, "Hey, there's some stuff going down like we did last year on All Out, when we were getting the live updates and live reactions to what was happening."
So you never know what can happen on this network.
That is true. And regardless, we will be here next Sunday at 1:00 Eastern to do our BOSJ 30 wrap up, and we have a special guest coming to talk about their art project, which is really exciting. We also will have some news about the Nice episode. I don't know if we want to tell them. I guess we can save that for next week, because we're gonna have there's gonna be a slight
confirm it.
We got to confirm it, but there is going to be a slight change to the Nice episode, but you don't have to, we'll fill you in.
It's going to be a really nice change.
It will be a really nice change. But so make sure that you're following us on Instagram and Twitter at Powerbombshells, because that's where we'll post anything that needs to happen. We'll also probably talk about Zaddies and Paula Abdul and post some GIFs over there. I think we have to at this point.
At this point,
I will be live tweeting the pay-per-view, because that's what I do. That's just my thing. So if you want to follow along, it's Samantha_1713. And you can follow me there. Mel, hers is up there. She's at Mel Gray with an A as an awesome. Mel Gray 8. And so come follow us, and then obviously follow Keela as well. We've popped hers up there. It's a Lady Wrestling X. But thank you, Keela, so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to come hang out with us and talk AEW, because I always love getting your insight on these things. And so we're very glad that you were available to join us today.
No problem. Had a great time. I will be very brazen in saying this has been my favorite appearance so far. This was a lot of fun today. Unforgettable. Zaddies rule the world.
They do. Zaddy archaeologists.
All right, you guys.
We gotta go, or we're gonna talk for another half.
No, that's perfect.
It'll be time for the buy-in by the time we get done.
Thanks everyone for being here. Have a great week. Enjoy Double or Nothing, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.